All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about something that every single project manager has to deal with. But let's be honest, very few actually master it. And that is the rigorous review of a project schedule. Now I know, it might sound a little dry, but trust me, getting this one thing right can be the difference between a project that succeeds and one that completely falls apart. And really, that brings us to the core question of this whole discussion. Take a hard look at your project schedule. Is it a living, breathing roadmap that your team uses to navigate every decision? Or has it become a relic? You know, that document that a ton of effort went into at the start, only to get filed away in a folder somewhere, never to be seen again.
Ah, yes, we've all seen this. A massive, super complex schedule lands in your inbox, and the only instruction you get is these 4 words: for review and comment. It's so simple and, frankly, so completely useless. This right here is ground zero for a review process that is, well, pretty much designed to fail from the start.
And this leads us directly to a really common tragedy in the world of project management: the forgotten roadmap. I mean, think about it. So much time, so much expertise, so much effort goes into building these incredibly detailed schedules. But way too often, they just end up as these static, dusty documents that have almost no connection to what's actually happening on the ground.
So here's the key takeaway, and this is super important. When a schedule review just completely fizzles out, it's almost never the team's fault. The real problem is a breakdown in communication. The planner, the person who actually built this thing, hasn't given the team the context they need to give any kind of meaningful feedback.
Okay, so let's break this down. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of why this process goes wrong so often. It really all boils down to a huge disconnect between what the planner is hoping for and what the team is actually seeing.
And this is where it gets fascinating. Look at the difference here. On one side, you have the planner. They're thinking, okay, the team is going to dig into the logic, they're going to question the durations, they'll trace out the critical path, but what does the team actually see? They see a wall of text and lines, an intimidating, dense chart with zero context. They have no idea why the schedule was built the way it was. And the result of that? Well, it's inevitable, right? The review just becomes a box-ticking exercise. It's a formality. People either say nothing at all, or they give some vague, surface-level comments because they haven't been empowered to do anything else. It's not the collaborative, deep-dive session it's meant to be. Not even close. Now, this isn't just some small annoyance or an inefficient meeting. This failure to communicate, this collective silence during the review process, it carries a really, really high cost. Let's take a look at the real-world damage this can do.
And this number right here just perfectly illustrates the scale of the problem. Get this. Studies show that fewer than 12% of projects are actually hitting their planned progress by the time they're halfway done. A massive part of that is because the schedule isn't being used as the proactive, dynamic tool it's supposed to be.
So when these reviews go wrong, we're leaving huge benefits on the table. We miss our best chance to spot risks early on. We end up making worse strategic decisions because our data isn't really tested. We chip away at team accountability and alignment, and this one's huge. We make it much harder to defend ourselves if there's ever a dispute over delays.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty clear picture of the problem. But the good news is there is absolutely a solution, and it all starts with rethinking the planner's role. They're not just a schedule builder. They need to be a communication leader, a guide for the whole team.
And I really need to emphasize this point. You cannot fix this with a shiny new piece of software. It's not a tech problem. The solution is human. It's about a fundamental shift in how the planner tells the story of the schedule to everyone else.
This right here is the cheat sheet. This is exactly what that better communication looks like. For any review to have a chance of success, the planner absolutely must lay out these 6 things. What are the core assumptions? What's the big picture strategy? Where are the critical handoffs between teams? What are the big risks we already know about? And this is so important. They need to ask specific, targeted questions. And finally, they need to be crystal clear about what decisions they need from the group, right then and there.
So how do you actually create the space for this kind of deep communication? Well, you get everyone in a room together. It's that simple. You just cannot review a complex project schedule properly over email. You need the energy, the back and forth, the dynamic power of a workshop. And man, the difference is like night and day. An email review is silent, it's static, everyone's disconnected. A workshop, though, it's alive. It's about discussion, debate, and asking tough questions. It's where that flat document on a screen actually comes to life. In a great workshop, the planner is more of a facilitator than a presenter.
They're guiding the team through the execution strategy, tracing the critical logic so everyone sees it, making the handoffs between different groups really clear, and steering the conversation about risks and what-if scenarios. This is how you turn a chart into a shared mental model that the whole team buys into.
So, when you make this shift, when you move away from passive emails and toward these active, collaborative workshops, the payoff is just immense. Let's talk about what a successful review actually delivers for the project.
When the team walks out of a great review, they leave with 4 incredibly valuable things. First, a totally clear understanding of how the project is actually going to unfold. Second, complete visibility of all the constraints and interfaces that affect their specific piece of the puzzle. Third, real alignment on what the project's true priorities are. And finally, a deep, intuitive understanding of the real critical path, not just some red lines on a Gantt chart.
And here's the bottom line. The schedule is finally elevated. It stops being a report that just collects digital dust, and it becomes what it was always meant to be. A powerful, strategic tool that actively guides the team, helps control risk, and protects the project from delays that were entirely preventable.
And that leaves us with one final and I think pretty critical question for you to think about. Take a look at the projects you're working on right now and ask yourself, honestly, do you and does your entire team truly understand your project's roadmap, its flow, its risks, its critical drivers? If the answer is anything less than a rock-solid yes, then it's probably time to change how you review your schedule.